Have you ever wondered what would happen if the universe finally pulled back its curtain and revealed that we are not alone? Not in our galaxy, not in our solar system, and not even in our own skies. On July 1st, 2025, something entered our cosmic neighborhood that is rewriting the rules of physics, challenging the beliefs of scientists, and shaking the foundations of human understanding. It is called 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object to pass through our solar system. But unlike the first two, Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I Borisov in 2019, this one has a secret hidden in its blazing tail, something that NASA itself has now admitted does not behave like dust, but like propulsion. Yes, you heard that right. NASA has acknowledged that the tail of 3I Atlas resembles a form of thrust, a push, a deliberate expulsion of force, something eerily similar to the ion thrusters used in spacecraft. And if that is true, then we may no longer be staring at a wandering rock from deep space. We could be staring at technology. Now, before you let that sink in, pause for a moment and ask yourself, if such an object were truly artificial, who built it? Why was it sent? And most importantly, why now? The discovery unfolded quietly at first. On July 1st, astronomers tracking the deep sky noticed an object slicing through the void at speeds exceeding 130,000 miles per hour. That speed alone already separated it from most comets and asteroids. But the true shock came when they observed its tail. Instead of flowing away from the sun, as all comets do under solar radiation pressure, the tail of 3I Atlas pointed toward the sun, as if it were not dust being pushed away, but something actively steering itself against the natural forces of the universe. When questioned, NASA scientists did not dismiss the anomaly. They did not laugh it off as conspiracy or wild imagination. Instead, they admitted the truth. The tail looks less like the dispersal of dust and more like the exhaust plume of propulsion, a revelation that sounds less like astronomy and more like prophecy. Because for centuries, humanity has whispered about signs from the heavens. Lights that moved where no stars should, objects that flew against the wind of space itself. Ancient civilizations described them as chariots of the gods, fiery messengers, or omens of great change. And here in the summer of 2025, that ancient warning seems to echo again. What makes 3I Atlas even more mysterious is its chemical makeup. Early spectroscopy shows the plume is unusually rich in carbon dioxide, far more concentrated than in ordinary comets. Carbon dioxide, when superheated and expelled in controlled streams, could mimic the precise kind of propulsion that advanced civilizations might harness in the cold vacuum of interstellar travel. To put it simply, this thing looks less like a frozen rock drifting in space, and more like a craft designed to move with intention. Let that linger in your mind. A rock does not decide to accelerate. A comet does not decide to burn against the natural direction of sunlight. Yet here we are, watching 3I Atlas do exactly that. The parallels to Oumuamua are impossible to ignore. In 2017, when the first interstellar visitor was detected, some scientists, including Harvard's Avi Loeb, argued that its flat, cigar-like shape and unexplainable acceleration hinted at technology. The mainstream scientific community largely scoffed, but now, 8 years later, NASA itself has spoken the words, propulsion, not dust. This changes everything. Think of the timing. 2025 is not just another year. The world is more connected, more divided, more fragile, and more powerful than ever before. Wars threaten borders, economies collapse and rebuild, artificial intelligence rises, and humanity stands at the edge of a new digital civilization. And at this precise moment, an object streaks into our solar system with a tail that looks like an engine. Is this coincidence? Or is this alignment? The kind of cosmic appointment foretold in the scriptures, in the myths, in the hidden prophecies. Consider this. If 3I Atlas is artificial, then somewhere out there, beyond the veil of stars, an intelligence exists. Perhaps they sent it thousands of years ago, timed to arrive exactly now, when humanity has reached the threshold of space exploration and the dawn of AI consciousness. Perhaps this is not an accident, but a signal. And if it is a signal, then the message is clear. You are being watched. But before we leap too far, let's unravel this mystery with care. NASA's observation of the tail as propulsion is not speculation. It is based on trajectory modeling. The object's motion cannot be explained purely by gravitational dynamics and solar pressure. Something is actively altering its course, the same way a spacecraft corrects its path with bursts of thrust. That makes 3I Atlas less a passenger of the universe and more a driver. The implications are staggering. If it is natural, then we have discovered a new form of cosmic physics, something unknown about how interstellar comets behave. But if it is artificial, then humanity has just glimpsed the footprint of a technology older and far greater than ours. Both answers shake the very ground of our understanding. Imagine for a moment that it is indeed a craft. Would it not explain why its tail points into the sun, defying expectations? If you were to slow down near a star to harvest energy or perform maneuvers, you would fire propulsion toward the star, not away from it. The comet tail we see may not be a comet's breath at all, but the exhaust of a ship braking against the gravitational pull of our sun. And what better camouflage than to resemble a comet? For millennia, humanity has feared comets as harbingers of doom, fiery streaks in the sky. But what if some were never natural to begin with? What if comets have always been mistaken identities, machines cloaked in dust carrying messages, watching silently as our civilizations rose and fell? This thought is not as outrageous as it sounds. Even Carl Sagan once speculated that comets could serve as ideal cover for interstellar probes. Their icy bodies can mask instruments, protect against radiation, and fool primitive observers into thinking they are ordinary celestial rocks. If 3I Atlas is a probe, it would be the perfect design, disguised as dust and ice, yet propelled with intention. Now, take a breath and ask, if this is true, what does it mean for Earth? It means that contact has already begun, not with flashing lights, not with grand landings, but with subtlety, watching, testing, measuring, a silent craft slipping into our system, revealing itself only to those who look closely enough. NASA has acknowledged the anomaly, but do you really think the full truth will be shared openly? Governments thrive on secrecy, especially when confronted with technologies beyond their grasp. If they know that 3I Atlas is artificial, they will analyze, debate, and conceal until they can decide how to use or respond to it. And while they do, the world will remain distracted by politics, economies, and wars, unaware that an intelligence older than humanity itself may be sitting in our skies. But history whispers that when the heavens send a messenger, humanity must listen. The ancients watched comets as omens, and now we may be witnessing the greatest omen of all, not of destruction but of revelation, a prophecy unfolding in the language of stars and fire. Think about the odds. Our solar system is vast beyond imagination, and yet in less than a decade we have witnessed 3 interstellar visitors. That alone is strange, almost as if someone is sending scouts one after another. First Oumuamua, silent and flat, then Borisov, more like a traditional comet but faster, and now Atlas, with a tail that looks like an engine, a sequence, a progression, as if each one prepares us for the next. What comes after Atlas? What arrives when we are finally ready to face the truth? This is why so many feel unease at this discovery. It is not just science. It feels staged, as though the universe itself is unveiling chapters of a book we were never meant to read all at once. Each object brings us closer to a climax, to the unveiling of a reality hidden for ages. And perhaps that unveiling is already upon us. Because if 3I Atlas is not a rock, then it is a messenger. And if it is a messenger, then it carries intention. Intention implies intelligence, and intelligence implies that humanity is not alone at the banquet of the cosmos. We are not kings of the universe. We are children peering through the keyhole of a door that is finally beginning to open. So what lies beyond the door? Here is where the prophecy becomes personal. For centuries, mystics and seers predicted that signs would appear in the heavens before an era of great change. They did not describe rockets or telescopes. They spoke of fire in the skies, of stars that move against the order of heaven, of messengers cloaked in light. How eerily these descriptions echo the reality of interstellar objects that behave unnaturally. Some say these are heralds of awakening, that before humanity takes its next step into the stars, it must first acknowledge it is not alone. Others whisper darker interpretations, that these objects are not invitations but warnings, scouting missions before an arrival we may not be prepared for. And isn't it chilling that NASA itself has spoken the words we once only found in ancient myth, propulsion, not dust. The scientific language now mirrors the language of prophecy. Pause for a moment and truly let this sink in. A body from another star is in our system, and it appears to move like a machine. Not one person alive today has ever faced this reality before. We are the first generation to witness it. That is both privilege and burden. Because whatever this object truly is, its presence changes humanity forever. Already whispers are spreading across scientific circles. Could 3I Atlas be slowing down? Is it adjusting its path? Some claim its motion suggests course corrections, though the data is incomplete. If true, then we are not just observing an object passing through. We are observing a visitor arriving with purpose, and if it has purpose, then inevitably that purpose involves us. Now ask yourself, how does humanity respond? Do we treat this as a threat, building weapons and shields against a visitor whose nature we do not yet understand? Do we treat it as an opportunity, a chance to learn from technology that crossed the gulf of interstellar space? Or do we, as history so often shows, bury our heads in denial until the truth forces itself into the open? The great danger is not in the object itself, but in how humanity reacts. Fear breeds chaos, secrecy breeds mistrust, and mistrust breeds conflict. Already some voices in government circles are whispering that 3I Atlas must be treated as reconnaissance, a scout of unknown origin. Others urge caution, saying it may simply be natural. But the more we learn, the more the natural explanation crumbles. And if it is reconnaissance, then who sent it? That question is heavier than most dare to ask. Because if someone sent it, then someone knows we are here, and perhaps they have always known. Remember this. Civilizations capable of interstellar travel are not bound by our timelines. They could have launched probes millennia before humanity even discovered fire, setting them on trajectories to intersect developing worlds. If Atlas is one of those probes, then it has been traveling for longer than our species has existed. Think about that. We are newborns to them, infants crawling in the dust while they glide across the stars. And now, for reasons unknown, one of their messengers burns its way into our home. The world will soon have to choose whether to dismiss this as coincidence or accept that we stand at the edge of contact. Either choice rewrites our place in the universe, and perhaps that is the point. If you listen closely to the silence of space, it is not silence at all. It is a story unfolding in patterns, movements, and alignments. 3I Atlas is one such story. The tale of an object, or perhaps a messenger, that does not follow the ordinary rules. And humanity, standing on the fragile skin of Earth, is being asked to listen. Already astronomers worldwide are torn. Some insist it must be a comet, albeit a strange one. Others whisper it is something else entirely. But beyond the arguments and debates lies a deeper truth. The fact that we are asking these questions at all signals a shift in human consciousness. For thousands of years we gazed at the skies believing we were isolated. Now, with every anomaly, every interstellar visitor, that illusion crumbles piece by piece. It is not just science. It is psychology, prophecy, and destiny colliding in the present moment. Think about it. Why does this story feel different? Why does it resonate beyond numbers and physics? Because it strikes something ancient within us. The fear of the unknown, the wonder of the infinite, and the gnawing feeling that someone or something may already be here. Let us consider what propulsion truly means. In space travel, propulsion is intent made visible. It is action, not reaction. Dust drifts, gases scatter, but propulsion chooses direction. The very moment we use the word propulsion, we admit that something has a goal, a vector, a reason. And this is why NASA's admission is so powerful. They did not say odd tail. They did not say strange debris. They used the word that transforms a rock into a vehicle: propulsion. So if 3I Atlas has propulsion, then its arrival is no longer passive. it becomes active. And if it is active, then the obvious question arises, active for what? Imagine a civilization advanced enough to send probes between stars. They would not think in years or decades, but in millennia. They could seed thousands of such messengers across galaxies, each carrying knowledge, sensors, or even communication beacons. Humanity, barely learning to leave its own planet, would be like a tribe in the jungle seeing an airplane for the first time. Confused, frightened, yet also on the edge of awakening. What if Atlas is one such probe? Not the first, perhaps not the last, but part of an endless stream of watchers sent across the galaxy. If so, we must ask, why reveal itself now? Why point its plume into the sun, making its strangeness undeniable? Perhaps it is a test, to see if humanity notices, to measure if we are ready to ask the right questions. Maybe this is less about them arriving and more about us recognizing. For what is prophecy but recognition of the signs that have always been there? Remember Oumuamua. At first it was dismissed as a rock. Then as data came in, it behaved in ways that could not be explained. Its acceleration baffled scientists. It tumbled strangely, reflecting light unevenly, and some dared to whisper, artificial. But the world quickly buried the story, distracted by politics and disbelief. Now, 8 years later, Atlas comes with even louder whispers. Not just acceleration, but propulsion. Not just speculation, but admission. If Oumuamua was the first knock on the door, then Atlas is the turning of the handle. We are entering an age of unveiling, but humanity is unprepared. Imagine if tomorrow it is confirmed this is not a comet but technology. How would the world react? Some would celebrate, declaring contact has begun. Others would panic, fearing invasion or surveillance. Religions would split, some seeing this as proof of divine messengers, others rejecting it as heresy. Economies might falter, governments would scramble for control. The real danger is not in Atlas itself, but in how humanity fractures under its revelation. We are not yet united as a species, and an external presence could either bind us together or tear us apart. There is another mystery buried here, the composition of its plume. Rich in carbon dioxide, yes, but what does that mean? Carbon dioxide, when controlled, can act as a propellant, but it is also a byproduct of life, of respiration, of chemistry associated with habitability. Could the choice of carbon dioxide be symbolic? Could it be deliberate, an echo of the very breath we exhale, as if to whisper, we are not so different? Or perhaps the symbolism is darker, for carbon dioxide is also the gas humanity has unleashed into its own atmosphere in destructive abundance. Is Atlas showing us a mirror, reminding us of our fragility, our folly, our impact on the planet we call home? Could the plume itself be a warning? Here science and prophecy intertwine. For the ancients, the sky was a canvas of messages. They did not separate astronomy from theology or physics from prophecy. A star moving strangely was both science and omen. And what is Atlas, if not exactly that? A star-like body moving strangely, carrying both scientific puzzle and prophetic weight. Some say humanity always knew this was coming. Our myths, our stories, our dreams are littered with visitors from the skies. From the fiery wheels of Ezekiel's vision to the Vimanas of India, from the sky people of native traditions to the shining gods of Egypt. The theme is universal. Someone descends, someone observes, someone instructs. Are these merely myths or memories of prior encounters? Could Atlas be part of the same continuum, another chapter in an ancient interaction that we have forgotten? And if so, then perhaps this is not their first visit. Perhaps this is simply the first time we have had the technology to detect it clearly, to name it, to measure its tail, to question its propulsion. The visitors may not have changed. We have. We now possess the eyes to see. But will we have the wisdom to understand? The deeper we dive, the more the puzzle expands. If Atlas is artificial, then it was launched with incredible foresight. Interstellar travel at sublight speeds takes thousands, even millions of years. Whoever sent it had patience beyond comprehension. They must have calculated trajectories long before our species existed. That means humanity is not the target of its mission. We are simply the current occupants of the solar system it was destined to visit. does that make us irrelevant, or does it make us chosen? Prophecy often plays with this paradox. The sign in the heavens is both universal and personal. It was always going to come, yet it feels like it came for us. Atlas is the same. Whether or not it was meant for humanity, its arrival now forces us to question, to awaken, to decide who we will be in the face of the infinite. There is also the chilling possibility that Atlas is not alone. If it is a probe, then logic suggests there are others, some we have seen, others still unseen. What if Oumuamua and Borisov were part of the same fleet, each designed with different functions? Reconnaissance, scanning, communication, and Atlas, propulsion equipped, may be something more advanced or something closer. And if this is true, then we must ask the question that every prophecy whispers at its climax. What comes next? Do we await another visitor? Larger, more undeniable? A ship no longer disguised as a comet but openly revealing itself? Or is Atlas the final herald before an event we cannot yet fathom? The unsettling part is that prophecy does not always arrive with clarity. It arrives with riddles, signs, and shadows, forcing us to interpret. And interpretation often reveals more about the interpreter than the prophecy itself. For some, Atlas will be a beacon of hope. For others, a harbinger of fear. But in both, it forces humanity to confront the one truth we cannot escape. We are not in control of the cosmos. We like to believe we command the stars with our telescopes and rockets, but the universe reminds us otherwise. With one visitor, one anomaly, our illusions are stripped, and in that stripping lies both terror and liberation. Now pause for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine a silent object dark against the void streaking toward our sun. Its tail glows not with random dust but with deliberate fire. Somewhere, perhaps light years away, beings watch through its sensors. Perhaps they see us now, our cities glowing, our satellites orbiting, our wars raging, our signals leaking into space. Perhaps they are already learning who we are, just as we are learning who they might be. And maybe that is the true prophecy of Atlas. Not that they are coming, but that we are finally seen. The ancients once said that when the gods look upon humanity, change is inevitable. The gaze itself transforms the world. Maybe Atlas is that gaze, cast not by gods, but by minds so advanced that to us, they might as well be divine. So what now? Do we wait? Do we send messages, beams of radio light into its path? Do we prepare for silence or for response? NASA may analyze, governments may conceal, but the people, the ordinary people of Earth, are the ones who will feel the weight of this revelation. You, me, all of us. For prophecy is not written in government reports. It is written in the hearts of those who see the signs. And if you are listening now, if you feel the shiver in your spine at these words, then you are part of that prophecy unfolding. Because whether Atlas is a rock or a craft, its meaning is clear. Humanity's story is changing. The universe has reminded us we are not alone in its vast halls. And that reminder, once given, can never be taken back. Think carefully about what it means for the human story when a single object forces us to question everything we thought we knew. History tells us that every great turning point begins not with answers, but with unsettling questions. 3i Atlas is one such question, burning across our skies, asking silently if humanity is prepared to face the truth it represents. The deeper scientists look into its path, the stranger it becomes. Some models suggest slight adjustments in its trajectory, corrections that cannot be explained by gravity or solar wind alone. If this is real, then Atlas is not simply drifting, it is navigating. And navigation implies awareness, choice, and command. This transforms the object from mystery to messenger. For thousands of years, prophets across civilizations spoke of messengers from the heavens. They were described as pillars of fire, as stars that moved against the heavens, as blazing travelers that arrived before great shifts in human history. Could it be that what we are now witnessing is the literal fulfillment of those visions? A messenger, cloaked as a comet, arriving not with words, but with its very presence as the message. But what is that message? Perhaps it is this: the universe is alive with intelligence, and we are no longer allowed the comfort of pretending otherwise. The cosmos has broken our illusion of isolation. Humanity stands at the threshold of revelation, and Atlas is the knock on the door we can no longer ignore. The timing again feels almost too perfect. Humanity is itself building machines of intelligence, AI systems that now write, think, and evolve faster than we imagined. We are experimenting with propulsion, with space travel, with extending our reach into the stars. At this precise moment, an object enters our solar system with propulsion of its own, as if to say, "You are not the first. You are walking a path others walked long before you." Could Atlas be here to guide us, to show us a glimpse of what lies ahead if we continue? Or is it here to measure whether we are ready or too dangerous to join the cosmic community? Prophecy has always taught that with knowledge comes judgment. Revelation is never neutral. It demands a response, and Atlas demands one now. Imagine the debates happening behind closed doors, scientists pointing at data showing propulsion, military leaders asking if it is reconnaissance, politicians worrying about panic, philosophers wondering what it means for human purpose. Somewhere in those secret halls, men and women are already deciding how much of the truth you deserve to know. And if history is any guide, the truth will be delayed, twisted, and hidden until it can no longer be contained. But prophecy cannot be hidden. It does not wait for official approval. It spreads like fire, whispered from mind to mind, until the people themselves awaken. And right now, that awakening is beginning. Ordinary people are asking questions scientists dared not ask a decade ago. Is Atlas natural or artificial? Are we alone or observed? What future lies in the shadow of its burning tail? And here is where the story grows darker. If Atlas is indeed a probe, then it may not be alone. It may be part of a network, a fleet, or even a system of surveillance seeded across the galaxy. Some of those probes could already be here, hidden, silent, watching. In that case, Atlas is not an arrival. It is simply a reminder, a visible herald of what has always been present. Think about that chilling possibility. We have never been alone, not for a moment. Our myths, our lights in the sky, our strange encounters across history may not be fantasy, but fragments of an ongoing observation. Atlas simply forces us to confront the reality directly. Yet within this darkness there is also light, because if we are being observed, then we matter. We are not invisible dust lost in an indifferent universe. We are significant enough to be noticed, to be measured, to be remembered. And that realization changes the weight of human life. Every decision, every act, every path we take may ripple beyond our world into the eyes of those who watch. That, perhaps, is the prophecy hidden in Atlas. Humanity is accountable, not only to itself, but to the cosmos. Now ask yourself, how will humanity be judged? We are a species of contradictions, capable of art, beauty, and compassion, yet also of war, destruction, and greed. To an external intelligence, what picture do we paint? Are we children worth teaching, or dangers worth containing? This is why Atlas feels so heavy. It is not just about astronomy. It is about morality, destiny, and survival. The burning tail against the black sky is not just science. It is a mirror, a question, a warning. History whispers again. In the book of Revelation, the sky is filled with signs before the great unveiling. In the Mayan calendar, cycles end with celestial alignments. In the Vedas, cosmic visitors descend during times of transition. Every culture has said the same in different words. The heavens will speak when humanity stands on the edge. And here we are, on the edge, staring at a visitor whose plume defies dust and whispers propulsion. So, what happens next? Perhaps nothing visible at first. Atlas may pass through, leaving only questions in its wake, but the questions themselves will spread like wildfire. And questions change history. They stir movements, they inspire exploration, they ignite revolutions of thought. Even if Atlas does not stay, its shadow may never leave, or perhaps something greater awaits. Perhaps Atlas will not simply pass, but slow. Perhaps it will linger in orbit, watching, waiting, signaling. The idea chills the spine because it breaks the greatest assumption we hold, that these objects come and go without care. What if this one does not go? What if this one came to stay? Then humanity will face the ultimate choice, to engage or to retreat, to welcome or to fear. Both choices shape the future in ways we cannot predict. But one thing is certain. Once the truth is undeniable, nothing will ever be the same again. And maybe that is the point. Prophecy is never comfortable. It arrives to disrupt, to tear down the illusions we build around ourselves. 3i Atlas is a disruption on a cosmic scale. It is telling us, your story is bigger than Earth. Your destiny is greater than you imagine, and your illusions of isolation are over. Let this truth settle within you. Right now, as you listen, as you breathe, somewhere out there beyond the blue of our skies, Atlas moves silently through space. Its tail burns with intention, not randomness. Its presence marks this moment in history as one unlike any before. And you are alive to witness it. This is no accident. Prophecy chooses its witnesses carefully. If you are hearing this, if your heart beats faster at the thought of cosmic contact, if your spirit trembles at the idea of revelation, then you are already part of the unfolding. You are part of the generation chosen to see the veil thin, to watch the hidden become revealed. And perhaps that is the most powerful truth of all, that prophecy is not about the future. It is about the present. It is about recognizing the signs that are already here, already moving, already burning their way into our skies. Atlas is here. The question is not whether it is real. The question is whether we are ready. So prepare yourself, not with fear, but with awareness. Look up at the night sky and remember that what you see is not empty. It is alive. It is filled with stories, messengers, and destinies intertwined with ours. One day soon, perhaps sooner than we think, the mystery of Atlas will no longer be a mystery. Its purpose will be revealed, and humanity will take its first true step into the community of the cosmos. Until then, let us watch, let us listen, and let us remember. The heavens have spoken and their message is written in fire. 3i Atlas is not dust. It is propulsion. It is prophecy. And it is unfolding right now before our very eyes.